Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome back to D2L Season 4, brought to you by Kingston HyperX. The Eastern Division continues to roll on, and as we continue to make our way through this schedule, we're beginning to see the standings take shape. We've got a team competing for the top slot in action today against another team who is just now beginning to really get into the meat of their own schedule. It's going to be Invictus Gaming taking on Rising Stars. Now, IG, as of right now, sitting in the top 4. Rising Stars has only appeared once so far in the D2L Eastern Division, and they have lost that one series. So that first loss, not the biggest deal in the world. Certainly something they're going to want to bounce back from, though. Don't want to find themselves sitting in that lower half as they begin to get into the meat and potatoes of their schedule. Let's go ahead and take a look at our teams, Invictus and Rising Stars, and where they shape up I was actually going to say in the standings. We'll take a look at that plate a little bit later, but for now, again, with Invictus Gaming, you can see they sit in third place. They're 2-1. They've got 5 points. For those who are wondering, the points are simply the number of games won. So obviously with the 2 best-of-3s, that's 4. But even in the series they lost, they split the first 2 games with LGD. So they are sitting in a comfortable third place now at 2-1 on the good side of 500. Howell holds down the carry position. Ferrari 430, a mid player everyone knows if you happen to know Dota. YY up, the captain. He's in the off lane with Banana on the support jungle and Faith on the hard support. On the other side of the river, gonna be Rising Stars. Now, Rising Stars is a team, a lot of talent, but so far, if we're to be honest, across the board in most tournaments in which they've appeared, they have somewhat underperformed. They've got King J in the offlane, CTY, and that's an interesting story in itself. We'll touch on that a little bit later. He's in mid, XDD, the hard support, who holds down the captain position, QQQ, the support jungler, and of course, Silent, one of the famous carries in the world. And coming back to CTY for a moment, this is a carry player who actually bested Ferrari 430 in a 1-versus-1 matchup, in a 1-versus-1 tournament, I should say, and that's really how he was discovered. So he's going to get a chance to rematch it. Ferrari going to be out for a little revenge of his own. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers, live here on the floor of our downtown San Francisco studio. Going to be joined by Ben Berlini Wu, as always. And again, this is really kind of the rubber weekend whenever it comes to the Eastern Division. And that's okay. You can bring that up, Tesh. It's fine. We'll take a look at the standings in a minute, no worries. But it is kind of the rubber weekend, and we are going to take a look at exactly why that's the case as we pop the standings up. A lot of these teams beginning to really make their way through their schedule now, and when you begin to look at the top of the field shaping up, there is a definitive top and bottom. Teams near the bottom right now, LGD International being a good example, they've already got 3 matches under their belt, have yet to snag a win. And keep in mind, these teams only play 7 matches across the entire Eastern Division. It is a single appearance round-robin format. You've got 4-0 for LGD, 2-3 for Tongfu, 2-1 for Invictus, and 2-1 for Team DK. That makes our top 4. Beachy Gaming right there in the mix as well, though. Those are the top 5 that everyone's going to be watching. LGD International, 0-3. Rattlesnake, 0-2. Rising Stars, 0-1. All of these teams looking desperately for wins where they can get them. And Rising Stars could definitely benefit a lot from being able to knock off one of the top 3 seeds so far as we reach about the halfway point here in our Eastern Division at the HyperX D2L. Once again, I'm your host, Aaron Chambers. We'll be back in just a moment. Myself, joined by Ben Merlini Wu. We're going to have Rising Stars taking on Invictus Gaming. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Game one just about to get underway as we can see the draft already in progress. I'm Aaron A.C. Chambers, joined by Ben Merlini-Wu, coming into our third weekend of Eastern Divisional play at the D2L Season 4, brought to you by Kingston HyperX. And don't forget, our grand final is going to be held in January at CES, brought to you again by Kingston HyperX at Caesars Palace. So as we begin to see this Eastern Division take shape, there are a definitive number of front runners. Invictus Gaming has their name up there, but again, this is kind of that rubber match for them. Rubber match for a lot of these teams. They're sitting at 2-1. You know, that could turn around quick, fast, and in a hurry, but with only 7 series to be played, being able to be 3-1 at more than halfway through their entire schedule puts Invictus Gaming in real nice shape. Rising Stars, though, in danger of falling to 0-2, in danger of having to win 2 in a row just to get themselves back to even, and then only having 3 more matches to try and make their case for the playoffs. So still a lot on the line, and one of the fun things about a single appearance round-robin format like this. To break down the draft we see in front of us, though, we're going to have Ben Merlini-Wu. And Merlini, you and I had the pleasure of seeing 6.79 debut last weekend, and we saw a lot of interesting picks, a lot of things changing here and there. But for the most part, teams were just trying to feel things out. Looking at the early draft here from Rising Stars and Invictus Gaming, and looking at what's going on across Dota as a whole, there definitely is a certain tier of heroes that are being picked and banned in almost every single game right now. Lich being a great example of a hero who went from being completely ignored to first pick, first ban status. Then you have Luna, Timbersaw, very popular. Visage, even after his nerf, is sitting in good shape. Crystal Maiden really is a support that we've been seeing a lot here in the Eastern Division.
Yeah, and I like how things have shaken up, although some of the stables are still there, like you said, Visage, Timber. We have Luna as our front runner for carry, and she didn't actually get buffed that much. Like a lot of heroes got nerfed, so she got buffed indirectly. So still very good hero, though. Rising Stars Gaming versus Invictus Gaming. So I think this is about 3-1, somewhere around there. In terms of odds in favor of Invictus Gaming, looks like 74-26, so very, very close to 3-1. But odds don't mean everything. We saw LG take down IG, I think 2-0 just yesterday, and I'm not going to name any names here, but somebody lost a lot of rares on that one.
Oh, yeah. Of course, getting involved in the rares betting. We're going to make you the Pete Rose of D2L history if you're not careful. Earthshaker going to be the third pickup from Rising Stars, another hero that we've been seeing played a lot. Song Sheng from Tongfu certainly has been favoring that hero. I want to say he's appeared on that hero 3 times through Tongfu's first 5 series. So a lot of teams beginning to take a bit of a cue from that. One thing worth mentioning, though, I mean, this comes down to what you were talking about, Rising Stars, Invictus Gaming, and how these teams match up. Even though the odds, and I would say most of the community opinion, is about what you said, 2/3, something like that in favor of Invictus, Rising Stars is absolutely stacked in talent, and in terms of on-paper talent, these teams are actually very close. The problem Rising Stars has been facing is they just really have been having trouble closing games out. They've had, and we actually saw that in play last weekend. There was at least one game that comes to mind immediately where they were ahead quite a bit and just were unable to make that transition from the mid-game to the late game and ended up giving up what should have been a win. So Invictus Gaming, one of the more stable teams, one of the more experienced teams. That's going to be the challenge, I think, for Rising Stars here, is just trying to find that sweet spot when they can transition and capitalize on what, for the most part, is usually an excellent early game.
Yeah, and I forget which team it was versus last week, but I was surprised when they took such a commanding lead, but they just seem to get lost around the 15 to 25-minute game mark. Hopefully they've studied their own replays and figured out what they need to do, because their early game is just fantastic. We've seen like Earthshaker with just moving around a lot, getting kills or counter ganking. They do like ancient pulls with Fissure too, so, and they have early game heroes too, so it's not like they lack in that. They just really do lack in that middle late game. They just need better in-game direction. They seem to just move around as a whole too much, and teams just really take advantage of that with split pushing, just drawing them around the map, taking down Roshan, and just out-farming them, really, and closing that gold lead that Rising Stars worked so hard to achieve.
We can see the real big pick coming out 4th for Rising Stars. Nightstalker was the 3rd pick up, and this is a hero that on the eve of the debut of 6.79, we wondered how much we would see, and we saw him in action a couple of times. He really wasn't that high of an impact hero, though, and has shown mixed results across other tournaments when he's been played over the last week as well. very much Night Stalker is one of those heroes who needs a little bit of help early on. You have early questions to face. What do you do at the 4-minute mark? Do you decide to just go ahead and use that first night to farm? That used to be a much easier question to answer because of the, of course, longer night and day cycle that was patched in 6.79. But Night Stalker, with his buffs, really does have a lot of kill potential, especially when you put him with a gank-oriented support like a Crystal Maiden and Visage, a hero who can get very active very early in a number of ways. If he gets a quick 6, he can help you push very quickly. And, of course, with Grave Chill and the unbelievable punching power of Soul Assumption in the early game and in the mid game, Invictus has a lineup, and now with the Troll, another hero who can fight very effectively early on, can farm hard and farm for a late game kind of a win. But I really think this early draft from Invictus is showing they want to get out and they want to try and put a win under their belt in sub 30.
Yeah, and both teams have a very, very early aggressive lineup, and I'm already excited for how this game is going to go. Looking at draft, I mean, neither team really has that much of an advantage, I say right now. It's still fairly even.
All right, so Troll, Warlord, and Rubik, and I'm going to have to correct something. Apparently I am muted in Dota TV, which is kind of bizarre.
10 seconds.
Oh, I might be too.
Oh, you're muted, Ben. Sorry, we're getting the call from Sesh.
Yeah, that's me.
Good to know. Good to know. It's but anyway, all of our Dota TV viewers, once again, want to thank you guys for, of course, supporting us via Ticket, and a special welcome to everyone via Twitch. All of those who, for whatever reason, are watching via Twitch, decided didn't want to go with the in-game option. Still love you very, very much, and of course, our Twitch audience. Gotta love Twitch chat and Twitch culture. Those things alone make me quite happy. But still waiting on our 5th picks to come out. I mean, taking a look at Rising Stars lineup and where they match up, I want to give the 5-on-5 team fight advantage, at least in the early game, to Rising Stars. Having Luna's Eclipse and plus the bonus damage she's going to get from Lunar Blessing, Timbersaw and all of his AoE, and now you add the AoE potential of Venomancer. Once he gets a 6, he gets Poison Nova, he'll have Venomous Scale. Venomous Scale, certainly a spell. It's hard to call it a buff or a nerf. It was just kind of changed. It's no longer a 1-point wonder kind of a spell, not nearly as strong at level 1 as it used to be, but still extremely good if you decide to max it out in terms of the damage it can pour out, especially in conjunction with Poison Nova. Then you have Earthshaker, a hero who, I mean, honestly, when it comes to just pure skill shots and the way it can swing a fight one way or the other, you can either screw your team or you can completely change a fight with Fissure. I really think Rising Stars has a lineup that suits their style. Again, we see how good their early game is, and they've given themselves a lot of tools to match up with Invictus Gaming's what would seem to be gank and movement-oriented lineup. And Mirana, of course, going to augment that even more, having her ultimate to give them basically a free smoke very, very quickly anytime they want it. This is going to be a game with a lot of action early. I expect a high kill count. Are
we seeing a solo mid? Who's solo mid for Rising Stars? I think it's usually Timbersaw.
Mm-hmm.
But King J is usually not their mid player.
Yep. So yeah, CTY usually is. We'll see. They may end up swapping. I mean, how many times have we seen that? We guess lanes based on who takes a hero, then they swap as soon as we get into the game. So we'll have to wait. But, I mean, taking a look at these early lineups, again, coming back around to this, Merlini, I see a lot of early fight and kill potential on both sides. Say levels 1 through 10. Who do you give the advantage to here?
Levels 1 through 10? I say, like, very, very early. Like, 1 through, like, 4 or 5, Rising Stars has the advantage. Earthshaker and Luna Aura and Venomancer are really, really strong on the sides of Rising Stars. But once nighttime hits, IG gets their level 4, 5, 6 with the Moonlight Shadow, with the Troll Ultimate, with the Visage Familiars. I think they have the advantage. And, I mean, Rising Stars, they get some spells at level 6, but I think IG's is much better, like, 4 through 10. So it will shift a little bit. And Rising Stars, I think, really has to take advantage of the early game. We've seen them take advantage of like the 1 to like 12, 13 minute, but they're gonna have to get going early, and they're already on the move. We see 3 people headed to the opponent's jungle right now. Make that probably 5.
Yep, and this kind of jives with what we were saying. I mean, seeing these heroes go ahead and match up. We'll run through the lineups in just a moment. Looks like they are going to hang around. Want to see, do they have a smoke or anything? They do not.
Wait, so King J is playing the Timbersaw, and it's a Veno mid.
Yep, I was just going to say, yeah, that's CTY playing under TY for some odd reason, but yeah, it looks to be a farming mid Venomancer. You know what?
I wonder if the opposing team suspects that, because as you said, we know that CTY is the mid player for Rising Stars, but do you think they expect to support Venomancer? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's like looking at the way this is drafted, like this is something I haven't seen in a long, long time. You have to go back to when I first got into casting Dota way back last year. And when the hero pool was extremely small, and you would occasionally see a Venomancer go into lane and actually try to take some farm. But this is something, I mean, call it what you want. Veno at the professional level, usually known as a support, but you can play him as a carry. I mean, he is a hero that does have some abilities to scale out, especially if he gets a good start, has a ton of kill potential. Mobility and survivability certainly a problem, but it's going to be something that we get to watch as he goes one-on-one against Ferrari 430. Ferrari will be handling the Night Stalker, again, up against the Veno of Rising Stars, running through the rest of the lineups. Faith will be playing on the Visage. No surprise to see him on that hero. YYF, who has been an absolute beast for IG so far in D2L Season 4, is actually going to be taking the Troll into the offlane with the Crystal Maiden, handled by Banana, doing a little D-warding right now as we look. And Mirana, going to be played by How. On the other side of the river, we're going to have Sylar farming up our Loon, and the Timbersaw will be handled by King J. He's going to be joined by XDD playing on our Rubik. The Earthshaker played by QQQ. And again, the surprise pick, the early solo mid Venomancer in mid, played by CTY.
IG is just so prepared for this Earthshaker pull, though. They had a ward inside here. They also had a sentry ward up here to kill the ward, too. So IG is just completely shutting down this Earthshaker pull. Actually, looking at this sentry, looks like they were trying to kill it right before, but unfortunately, looks like Rising Stars were able to get that off. So we may see the first Ancient. Oh, he's not actually pulling. I don't know why. But Banana... looks like he's just returning to the jungle. I'm surprised he did not go mid. We've seen Venomancer solo mid before, but really only versus a Templar Assassin. And I think that's he's pretty good at that, but versus a Night Stalker, that's way more unusual.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, just seeing like the pure solo mid Veno, casting games, I've seen it a couple of places just as a spectator, but actually casting, I haven't seen a solo mid Veno in a long, long time. Where you used to see him show up in mid was very often a duo mid sort of a situation, as you said. Against the TA, used to see a lot of CK Veno duo mids taking on a TA that just completely shut her down back in her heyday whenever she was a much more popular pick, being picked and banned in the first phase almost every time. So taking a look at the early last hits, we can see the Venomancer picks working out pretty well so far. He's got 12 last hits to the 6 of the Night Stalker, so doubling him up.
And looking at CTY2, he's actually not going for a bottle. He went for early boots. He got pulled 2 tangos and has already burned through the share tangos. Now he also bought a salve, so it's not a bottle build for solo mid. He's also going a 2-2-0 build, so no plague wards. That's probably the most interesting thing thus far about this game. And the other lane, just pretty standard Rubik babysitting Timbersaw up top. We see Visage babysitting the Troll up top. Just last hits very even, 8-2, 8-2 for each of those melee heroes in that lane. Bottom lane, Luna farming with QQQ, attempting to stack and pull Ancients. He has not been successful there. He's just almost level 2 right now, and he still has 5 clarities to burn too. How meanwhile trying to creep pull and stack at the same time while the creeps were at the opponent's tower. Banana rotating top. We may see a first blood. She has a DD. She has a smoke. She has a clarity pop. She has no aura too. So all out offense on this.
Here we go.
Her smoke gets popped.
Yep, DD's actually about to expire. Gets off the Nova. Doesn't look like going to be able to land the Frostbite in time though. So a little bit of unfortunate timing for Banana. Missed opportunity that time. And YYF though, in the meantime, at the very least, able to continue to soak up a little bit of CS. He's actually doing quite well for this situation, sitting at 12 CS at the moment. The Timbersaw, in fact, is sitting at 11, so he's actually out-farming this Timbersaw, at least for now. We see Faith continuing to try to make a little bit of space.
Banana going on mid right now. CTY in a lot of trouble.
Yep, going to be silenced out. There's the Nova to follow it up. Going to land the Gale, but the Frostbite's there. First blood. No, he's so south through it, but not enough to survive the Void. So give Ferrari the first blood. That's the way you want to start a game as Night Stalker. And look at that, right on time, just before first night dawns.
Are they going to get the bottom rune, though? QQQ is making his way towards their Ferrari. Nighttime. Looks like QQQ will get it first.
QQQ grabs it up. Ferrari's going to spot him, lands the Void, and going to go right to right click. He doesn't have enough mana for the silence. However, Hal's there, pecking away with those arrows. The Sacred Arrow will be off the market. A good fissure locked out Ferrari. Hal's trying to pursue out.
Wow, that uphill vision. How did he see that?
Manages to get the auto attack off and didn't miss it either. And the shame is TY.
Get from here to here. How in the world does that happen? I have no clue how he got that hit off. Oh, he gets the
Sacred Arrow going to connect for the second time. No follow-up, though.
He actually flashed too, and when he still had poison on him. Unfortunate. Yep. He's going to have to go home and heal.
And we're going to have a great chill on King J. A little bit of right-clicking, but not a lot. I mean, actually, here comes Rubik. They are going to go ahead and try to engage. There's Whirling Death and the Timber Chain through. Face in trouble. King J low as well. Can he catch up with Faith? We're actually going to have Vino getting killed in mid at the same time. And YYF unable to secure the kill here at top. Very close. A lot of trading in the paint as Faith and the Timbersaw both coming very close to death. Actually didn't see where Vino happened to die. It was in mid, so a little bit of over-aggression perhaps, but I do see Ferrari heading back to base, so I'm sure he and Banana had something to say about that.
IG is doing a fantastic job of shutting down and punishing this Venomancer mid. It's something unusual, and I think for good reason, because he doesn't really have a good escape ability. If your opponents are positioned properly, you won't be able to hit Gale on more than one, and especially versus a very early aggressive hero like Night Stalker, it's questionable. So I mean, I thought it was like okay if they can shut down Night Stalker, but looking at Night Stalker right now, involved in all 3 kills on the side of IG. Power Treads, Bottle, Smoke, 6 minutes in, and level 6. So it did not work in shutting down at all. And now Venomancer is actually a liability. He's sitting at his tower right now. He can't really gank the other lanes right now because IG has really good vision and he has to constantly be scared of the Night Stalker. And looks like somebody may take a fall on top pretty soon. They do have the Observer Ward close to the tower, but Night Stalker is smoked up.
Here we go, moving up. Trying to find himself a target, looking for a dive. Going to find it. There's King J. Going to be caught with the Void and the Grave Chill. Silenced out. 2-3. Make it 3 TPs coming in. And the Gale will connect. Ferrari, they're going to pop the haste rune he had bottled up. So Rising Stars comes in for Siler. Is level 6. Had Eclipse if he could have caught up, unfortunately. IG a little too quick to get the hell out of dodge. And we'll see if Rising Stars wants to go ahead and push off of this, knowing it'll be hard for IG to re-engage after kind of shooting their wad there. Nonetheless, IG leads 4-1.
They need sentries really badly. Mirana's level 6 right now. If they get a good engage with Moonlight Shadow, the fight's over, and then they're just going to continue to dominate during nighttime. She has Moonlight Shadow right now. Looks like it's about 1 minute left for nighttime, so Night Stalker's time is maybe about to end. We actually see one person rotate bottom right now too. That's King J, and King J, he shouldn't have been at the tower. They already know that like Ferrari's out and about. He's missing from middle. He is level 6, and he should have been like over here. So at least if they die, then his teammates have a little bit more time to react, or it buys a little bit more time for his teammates to do something. But they TP'd as 3, and they're just not getting anything out of it right now. Luna's not getting any farm, and meanwhile we see Banana getting free farm in mid.
Oh, YYF just flat out got caught. No idea what he was doing there. He got Lucent Beamed, he got Galed, he got Telekinesis. Like, that's just a free death they did not need to give away.
Oh, on bottom lane, King J gets ganked by Ferrari yet again.
And Sacred Arrow will connect. Just enough of a stun to make that happen. In the meantime, at top, Rising Star is still trying to push down this tower. They've had 4 up here for about a minute and a half.
Really soon, or they're just going to waste so much time and just give a really big lead to IG. Not they don't have a lead already, but if Luna's not getting farm for like 2 minutes time and they don't get a tower and all their other heroes are just sitting there trying to push this tower down when IG only has like 2 or 3 heroes, I mean, it would have been a lot better if YYF didn't die, but he's already back. They don't have Glyph right now. Tower is a little bit over half HP. Styler has his ultimate up, almost level 7. Let's see what happens here.
They're going to continue to stay up here, but they have been up here for quite some time. We're going to see Hal come up. They may look to engage. She is level 6. They do have Moonlight Shadow if they want to try and spend it after this wave is cleared. And let's see, still hanging out.
Ferrari can't be in vision. Like if you suspect it, you just keep your camera on one of the allied heroes, and they won't be able to do it. So after this creep wave dies, maybe they may try and engage. Looks like all of them are trying to stay out of vision. I don't see any sentry wards yet right now on the side of Rising Stars. Pressing my F5 button for inventory. Yep, no sentries on them.
Yep, looks like Rising Stars so far continuing to run together. King J is still left alone. He will go ahead and TP top, though, so this is going to be a full 5 if they want to try and do something with it. This tower still stands just outside
smoke too
of deny range, sitting at about 340 HP and melting down the creep wave. In the meantime, here in mid, though, Hal and Ferrari happy to go ahead and bang away on the tier 1 mid. And Rising Stars has continued to just spend an immense amount of time up here in their own jungle, and it's beginning to cost them dearly between lost experience, lost gold, lost farming time, as you had mentioned on Siler. They're just not getting a lot accomplished, and it looks like they're trying to bait something out, but IG happy to not take that bait.
Yeah, looking at the gold graph, I mean, they traded, what, 1-for-1 YYF for King J in the last maybe 3 or 4 minutes, but in the meantime, IG just continued to push up the gold lead. Now they will finally get the tower. exactly what they need. It took a little bit too long for them. Like, maybe they can just, like, smoke gank behind and just use Eclipse when there's no creeps, and just Fissure and Vino Gale and Telekinesis to keep people around the fight, but that just took very, very long amount of time. How, meanwhile, pressuring bottom tower. Looks like Ferrari will be pressuring bottom tower, or, sorry, Hal's pressuring mid tower.
Ferrari right now sitting atop the board in terms of hero level as well, and that's going to be a problem they're going to have to deal with. They have one extremely strong...
Smoke looks like Hal might die right here.
Hal going to be telekinesed and caught out. Manages to leap away, though. And the Timber Chain did connect, so no way to chase him down. And the Sacred Arrow to slow things down. QQQ did not have a Fissure to throw, as Rising Stars with a huge missed opportunity that time. The escapability of Mirana really showing itself, and they're continuing to just run as a group. They've sent one back to the top. That's going to be Siler, who desperately needs to continue his farm. Looks like he wants to grab some drums up. And we're going to hear Mirana pop Moonlight Shadow. This could be terrible. If they manage to catch Siler here after all that wasted time, could end up being a major turning point. And Rising Stars isn't pushing mid either.
Yeah, you can tell that Siler's just he knows what's going on. It's not even nighttime, and King J was almost in this exact same position, but he was still farming creeps over here. So Siler's awareness is just much better.
And we are going to see one TP away. That's going to be XDD coming to just make sure Siler is kept safe here in mid. The push is going to fizzle. Banana was there in case he had to do anything. Anyway, one thing that we didn't mention is Banana actually is fairly well over-leveled for the support position he's been playing, just because he had so much time in mid there. When we saw Rising Stars commit so much to that top lane and then take so long to bring the tower down, he was just free-farming away in mid. So he's off to a great start, already
he's
at level 7.
He's the same level as their solo mid Venomancer.
Exactly. So having an early-level Crystal Maiden as strong as she is in the early game, that's something that's going to give IG a bit of stability.
Yeah. Top lane, we may see an engagement pretty soon. Rubik needs level 6 as soon as possible. So is Earthshaker. Earthshaker's actually quite under level. And yeah, I think it has to do with a lot of the roaming by Banana. So Banana just doing a really good job of getting levels himself and denying the opponent's levels. Looks like XDD has finally hit level 6, and he has stolen Sacred Arrow. So Hal has to be really careful. Telekinesis into your own arrow, which is nigh impossible to miss, is just really devastating. Venomancer, on the other hand, has actually not picked up one level in Plague Ward. It's really good for vision, especially if you're scared of Night Stalker ganks. So I think he should pick that up pretty early. I mean, he got 2 levels of Poison Sting. It's like decent for the leveling, but he's not really in like a dominant position right now. So I think he needs like defensive skills such as Plague Ward.
Visage just hit 6 as well, so IG continuing to get stronger and stronger. Take a look at the gold graph. We see Rising Stars with that tower kill did manage to cut the deficit a bit. Still about 1,000 gold pure efficiency lead right now for Invictus Gaming. Continuing to arc upwards as well, but it's really the experience graph that's telling the story. Sacred Arrow will not hit anything. Swung a little bit wide, but IG is really beginning to take the lead in levels. And with the team that we had talked about during the draft, that's really predicated on getting a lot of kills and a lot of things done in the first 20 minutes of the game. That's exactly the kind of lead you want. I mean, obviously, if you can have the gold lead to go with it, that's certainly nice.
Another arrow comes out.
But you don't have to have it. So long as you have the level advantage, you're going to be able to get a lot out of this kind of a composition.
Yeah, and they have IG has better late game with like Night Stalker plus Potom plus Troll with Troll's ultimate, whereas Rising Stars only really has Luna, and Luna not really that close to her BKB. So they need to make something happen. They need to make something happen now, and they are 3-man smoking right now. It's a little bit risky. They need to try and kill Ferrari as soon as possible. Looks like King J is rotating there too, but IG senses something is amiss. I believe they may have scouted out with this Observer Ward, and it looks like we're seeing a TP mid. They may want to counter gank this. Who's it gonna be?
Face along the backside. YYF seems a rather appetizing target as well. Here we go. There's the ultimate, and Ferrari gonna engage onto CTY. He's caught out and dead the rights. Through counter engagement coming out behind, though. Here we go. They're going to engage. Fissure caught one. They're going to get YYF right on top of the Chakram, but Moonlight Shadow buys them all the time they need, but they're going to re-engage. Down goes QQQ. Timber Chain going to get him to the high ground, but Rising Stars buying back with CTY ends up trading 2 in exchange for 1. Granted, they did manage to get the Troll, so a nice pick there. But all in all, IG quite happy to be taking fights at this stage. And we can see even the Visage feeling a little bit over-leveled in comparison to other heroes. I mean, he's one of the lowest, but he's sitting at level 7 ahead of both Rubik and the Earthshaker. and the damage he's getting out of his familiars and especially out of max level Soul Assumption is through the roof. Now they're going to re-engage on the CTY. Sacred Arrow connects. Another kill going their way. Make it 8-3, and Rising Stars has to be very careful now. They're going to most likely lose a tower, if not now, sometime in the very near future. And with this lineup, as you mentioned, the late game favoring IG, if they're able to get any kind of a mid-game lead, they have such a strong mid-game team. This has dangerous potential to spiral out of control quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, I think Rising Stars just needs to farm the BKB up on. Oh, she's actually TPing into the fight. They want to take this. Ferrari, he has a haste rune though, as well as Earn. He's so hard to kill right now. And again, CTY just not having any sort of impact this game. 0-4-1 on the solo mid Videomancer, and already with a buyback too. He's trying to work on his drums, but it's just so hard for him to do anything this game.
3 of the top 4 in terms of pure net worth, all belonging to Invictus Gaming, and that's with them failing to have taken down a single tower as of right now. So, and that's, you know, again, that's kind of what I've termed an efficiency league, just pure out farming efficiency, pure out experience efficiency, so on and so forth. And this is a problematic place for them to be. They need to buy time. They need to make room for Luna to continue her farm. She just about has her Mithril Hammer up towards her BKB, but she's kind of got a hybrid build going right now. Has gone Treads and just tanked up off of that with a Bassi out first, followed by a Bracer, and then that Ogre Club. So she is survivable.
Arrow comes out, hit CTY.
They're going to, yep. Look at that. It's so easy to blow him up at this point. Now King J Timber chained in. The Visage Familiars are back out. Ferrari going to be telekinesis back. Fisher locks 2 down. Sylar forced back, and we're going to see the leap actually used by the Rubik to get away. In the meantime, King J is yet another kill.
Like, what?
Yeah, King J. And look at this. Misery showing his influence as Banana. I was watching him as he banked up gold, has decided to go ahead and grab himself a Midas.
I like the Midas TM.
Yep. Something, if you play in pub games, you're seeing all the time. It is happening a lot. Now we're going to see Leap used by XDD. Good Fissure. Blocks Ferrari down, and he actually managed to get Void there. So, tell you what, XDD is really, he has some choice spells to pick off, and he has managed to get a few good ones. But right now, only used for defensive purposes, as Rising Stars just has that feeling that they're on the ropes and trying to catch their breath.
Yeah, they definitely are, and they're just falling so far behind. It's too predictable with their constant 5-man trying to fight. IG just stalls with 2, 3, and then just takes a fight with 4 or 5 when they're in a very favorable situation. And they just split push and farm in the meantime, and they're very good about not forcing fights during nighttime, not getting picked off too. And they've only died 3 times this game too. Rising Stars is like theoretical, like very good early game.
Yeah.
And now that it's come to that mid game, and Rising Stars doesn't actually have an advantage, they're like really at a loss. And this is already their weak phase of the game. If you look at the graph right now, it's like 13 minutes. As soon as that happens, boom, spike up. It's the same problem that we've seen over and over with Rising Stars. Constant 5-man being very inefficient around the map. Compared to IG, who ganks very well. Notice when they killed the Venomancer, they shot the arrow, and then he just right-clicked with Familiars, and then shot like a Soul Assumption from over here. So they don't even actually have to be close to kill anybody, which is absolutely ridiculous. If they hit an arrow, someone's dead, and no one's in danger. Usually, like, your team runs in, you might get caught by, like, Echo, Eclipse, like, Veno, Ultimate, but not with this sort of lineup. And as long as they keep continuing to hit arrows, they can defend with minimal losses.
Hal in trouble in bottom lane will be picked off.
He has a Midas, too. Sure.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I noticed that. Midas is becoming... You know, it's always been a popular item on some heroes, but you're just beginning to see players just get Midas for the hell of it. It's fine. You know, it's had a decent early game. Would like to be rich later. Want to buy all the things. So go ahead and grab it.
It's really good for, like, fighting. Like, if there's a lot of fighting, it's good for both fighting and a lot of farming. Because if you're just fighting, you can just, like, swing by a neutral camp and Midas. You're picking up gold just way faster than the other team, especially when you're, like, forced to fight a lot. The only problem is if it actually hurts your battle potential in the fight, so much so that you die, like, 2 or 3 times when, like, a drums or maybe a 4-staff, blink dagger. I'm trying to think of items that are around 2,000 gold. Man, you're getting some free Visage bird kills over here when you actually die because you don't have enough items. And that does happen, but usually the trade-off pays off. It costs, what, 1,900 gold, so you need 5 Midases to break even if you sell your Midas, which is not that much time. 500 seconds is a little less than 10 minutes. So, like, we're talking about, like, 8.5 minutes time, it already pays off, and then 17 minutes, it pays for itself. So it's like it's pretty good item, and people don't like it that much. Attack speed is not terribly useful on a hero like Crystal Maiden, but it's like okay on someone like Mirana.
Well, it's one of those items that I think really it works best on heroes that don't have one extremely important core item. For example, Sylar on the Luna needs a BKB. Luna just has to have a BKB up at a decent time to really feel effective in any game of Dota. So delaying that by a Mithril Hammer plus 300 gold is often problematic for a hero like her. But then you have heroes, as you mentioned, like a Nature's Prophet, where he's going to be kind of slow to get to where he wants to be to begin with. You know, he gets a couple of mid-game items, a Midas, a Shadow Blade, and he can do some split pushing, so on and so forth. But yeah, just nice talking about the item, and it has become much more popular. I mean, for a while, and when I say for a while, I mean, honestly, for the last year or so, it was like, well, there were just heroes you got a Midas on, or if you were Loda, you built it on every carry ever. But for the most part, a bit more situational. Anyway, there has been some action across the map, some towers dropping as we've been having our discussion, but really no engagements. Both teams just kind of happy to trade and farm away, at least for the moment.
Especially, he was much happier about it, though.
Oh, yeah. You can take a look at the gold graph, getting up towards 7,500 gold in the advantage for Invictus. The experience, though, again, we saw this getting out of hand early. That's really what's telling the tale. Look at the levels. 5 of the top 6 in levels right now all belong to Invictus Gaming. They're in danger, or Rising Stars is in danger of losing this game based on nothing but just being out-leveled, just flat out not having the punching power from nothing but stat gain and ability gain.
How forgets often to leap after arrow. He tried it that time, but it was a little bit too late. He keeps giving Rubik arrow, and if he gives it a leap, it's just a much safer spell for the opponent to give. We see darkness being used.
QQQ watching the steps. They're trying to take a little bit of an ancient stack. But, yep, look like, yeah, they're going to go ahead and double back. We see Ferrari. He's kind of bouncing around like he doesn't know which direction he wants to go. The Visage Familiars are smoked as well. They're going to move over and spot that everyone's vacated. XDD showing his face here. Looks like they might just decide to try and push a full-on fight. They still have the smoke here. Sacred Arrow will be dodged by CTY and XDD.
He's going to shoot an arrow, though. Watch XDD. If he shoots an arrow, that most likely means initiate. Oh, unless Ferrari finds him.
Here we go. Spotted out and voided. Now he's going to be in some trouble. OTP's coming in. Comes back down the earth. There's the Fissure. The rest of IG, though, wants to engage. BKB's up on both sides. Midnight Shadow goes off. In the meantime, Ferrari continues to clean house. King J forced back. Soul Assumption will get the kill. So Faith ducking in, taking the long-range pot shot. Sacred Arrow will hit Sylar. Can they get in time? They can. Off goes the Poison Nova, but it doesn't matter. And Echo Slam not really doing the damage they needed. That's going to be a full 5-man wipe. And with that, Rising Stars' chance of playing their way back into this game may well have just disappeared for good. Taking a look at the hero levels, all of IG occupying the top slots. The net worth for the top 5, all IG, and the Crystal Maiden has outfarmed the Timbersaw so far.
And one more fight like that and it's GG from Rising Stars. They can't afford to lose one more fight. I mean, they couldn't afford to lose that fight.
Right.
And they just have so many items up on IG right now. They have a BKB on Night Stalker. They have a Midas on Crystal Maiden and Mirana. Their items will kick in soon. Troll Warlord has his armlet and Visage has his mech. There's just like, what can Rising Stars do against that sort of farm? Venomancer working on a Scepter, but his Scepter is useless versus BKBs. Luna has her own BKB, but it's useless versus BKB heroes that can actually just like run in her face and attack her, like Troll Warlord, who can just bash her, Night Stalker, who has Hunter in the Night as well as Battle Tricks, as well as a BKB of his own, and Treads too. So they can't really contest them in a 5-on-5 point right now. They have to play really, really smart. Their chances of winning this game are very, very low. If you lose a fight that early against 2 Midases, things are just going to continue to get worse and worse.
Tell you what I love about this pickup from Hal. Picking up the Lincoln's obviously nice for a hero like Mirana, who's being played as a carry. Has the Midas, so adding a little additional survivability is nice as well. But having 2 melee DPSers, especially the Night Stalker played by Ferrari, who is really taking the lead in all of these fights, being able to toss the buff onto Ferrari is just going to make that Night Stalker feel even more effective. But we saw just how far ahead he is in that fight. Rushed in, jumped on XDD on the Rubik, and then was engaged on by the majority of Rising Stars, and even then they still couldn't bring him down. Granted the BKB helped, but he's already tanked up and really feeling like this hero should feel at this point of the game. Now you have just one extra buff that a Mirana can lend to him when he wants to charge in. Yeah, things are getting very, very dire for Rising Stars.
Nighttime is used.
He's got a DD.
They're looking for blood, but How is just so far away right now. If they think a fight is going to be, it's going to take a while. Ferrari, is he going to engage? This is really risky for him. He's going to have to dive into the T3 if he actually wants to get a kill.
Throws off the Void, but does not overcommit to it. In the meantime, the rest of IG just pushing multiple lanes. Mid being pushed by Faith and YYF, as well as Banana. And at top, we can see How pushing in this top lane just a little bit, really just strangling away any sense of map control or farm potential from Rising Stars. And this is what Rising Stars struggles to do. How many times have we seen Rising Stars in a position similar to this? And now, of course, they find themselves on the other side of it. But this is how you close a game out. Strangle the map, play patient, take good fights, take what advantages you can. And Rising Stars, you know, even from this loss, hopefully can learn a lesson from that.
I think that IG, the Midas has actually played really well into their playstyle because they're just so good at avoiding fights and just picking and choosing the ones that they really want to take. And because of that, it seems like the game is a little bit less action-packed and the fights are just stalled until they really feel like they want to fight. And if your team is really good at doing that, then Midas just pays off so incredibly well. Ferrari already with his Vlads now, so they can do Roshan at any point that they want. Troll has his BKB. Like, they have almost all the items they need to just close this game right now. Arrow comes out, doesn't actually hit anybody. Lincoln's popped on Mirana, but we see 4 heroes up there. Banana, on the other hand, is just pushing on bottom. They need a gem as well so they can take out any of the wards. But look at this. We already see a Scepter out on the Visage. We see a Necro Book 1 on the Midas Crystal Maiden. I mean, this is getting ridiculous.
XDD gonna leap after him and telekinesis. There's the Fissure to follow it up and the Eclipse to guarantee the kill. Oh, Midnight Shadow bought a little bit of time. They do manage to clean him up. Faith is there, though. Here come the 3 familiars. In comes YYF. Poison Nova goes off. Ferrari gonna BKB through it, as will YYF. So they end up getting the Mirana. She buys back an XDD. Chopped to pieces with that attack speed. And Faith adds yet another kill to his total. And Faith has really been an unsung hero throughout this game. You take a look. Yeah, I was going to say, he's got to be near the top of the kill board, and he certainly is. Nice arrow. Nice arrow from Hal. Hit him in mid-stride.
They should call it right now. This is just brutal. Gold lead, like, going to be 20,000 after this. They didn't even have Banana for that fight. He's pushing the T3 solo versus a Luna as a Crystal Maiden.
Luna still in search of any kind of real items. You know, the big weakness of Luna as a hero, so item dependent despite having so many fantastic passives and abilities. Tier 3 top does drop, and the melee rack's the next target. And right now, IG just way too far ahead. I mean, this feels like they could honestly just hang around and take a tier 4 if they wanted. They may play it safe. It looks like they will. But I don't know that they have to. Feel pretty confident they could actually just force another fight and probably be able to just wipe out Rising Stars again. They're just that far ahead. I mean, hell, take a look at the net worth. Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised that Crystal Maiden hasn't finally caught up. Luna is less farmed at this point than the Visage, basically than anyone except the Crystal Maiden. And Crystal Maiden's right there with her. Crystal Maiden may as well be in most games, is in range of where an enemy carry would be considered to be.
Yeah, IG not looking to overextend either. They backed out right after they took the melee racks and are just looking to pressure to T2, but not taking many risks. So IG just very disciplined compared to some other teams. And Fissure actually gets blocked by Lincoln Sphere. That's kind of a relic from Dota 1, but it kind of shouldn't because it's like an AoE spell. So, I don't know. There's some strange mechanics part in Dota. Rising Stars looking for a desperation smoke right now, trying to do anything they can to get back into this game. Looks like they want to go for a smoke ink at Roshan, or maybe just a smoke Roshan itself. But look at IG, just so aware about it. They shoot a Sacred Arrow in. They have Visage Familiar scouting. Not even Faith getting picked off right now. They know a smoke ink is coming up. They know Rising Stars just looking for any bone that IG will give them.
And Rising Stars, this is their last hurrah, really. I think they know that. And, oh, wow. Hits a blind arrow on CTY. Here come the Visage Familiars. And just look at the damage output. They're going to be able to kill the Vino with nothing but Familiars. QQQ going to be chopped down. This will be your GG, one would imagine. They're going to lose at least 2, maybe more. Here comes Ferrari, ready to engage. Voids out and silences out XDD. The Visage doing good damage with the long-range artillery. And that's going to be, up there it is. That was their last chance, and even then it was a Hail Mary to end all Hail Marys. That was more or less the equivalent.
I think they probably should have called it like at the top T2, if not the bottom T2. It was over a while ago. Rising Stars is just trying to hang in there. I don't really think their draft was that bad. aside from the Venomancer mid, I had bigger hopes for CTY, but that was just a big, massive effing flop. 0-8-3 on the Venomancer. They have to draft better because they need to get a secure early game. We've seen what happens when they get a good early game. When they get a bad early game, this is what happens. Games close out very, very early.
Yep. As you mentioned, it's what they've always been good at is securing a lead. And, you know, granted, we haven't seen them a ton here in D2L so far, D2L Season 4. But I think we just got a lesson that this is a team who their entire play style revolves around getting a lead and then trying to do something with it. And, of course, you know, again, such a talented team. You hate to talk them down and make them sound like they're not a Tier 1 team, at least out of the East. They are, at least in terms of talent and on paper. Still, obviously, though, a lot of things that need to be shored up in terms of their abilities and their style to function as a true five-man composition. 29 minutes, 4 seconds, the official game time, 22-5. The final kill score. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers, live here in downtown San Francisco. Our first game of the night is in the books. IG looking to improve their record and looking to force their way into the top 2 positions here in the early standings of D2L Season 4 Eastern Division. Rising Stars doesn't want to fall to 0-2. They're going to have to turn it around quick, fast, and in a hurry and put together 2 wins in a row. There we go. That's the phrase I was trying to say. It's one of those days, man. It's cold outside. It just, body's not working right. Anyway, guys, regardless of how I'm working, you bet your ass these 2 teams are going to be working very hard to fight a path to Las Vegas. And, of course, for Rising Stars, that begins with Game 2. Need to get a win. IG, though, in a very familiar position, 1 game away from securing yet another W. Stick with us. We'll find out which team's up to the task here on the HyperX D2L. We'll be right back.